at some point, Americans are gonna go, well, we've had enough of this crap. No, you're not our ally, and all you've ever done is be unbelievably unfair to these people. And we're sick of it, and you did it with our money, and you're starting all these wars with our money, and we're not gonna take it anymore. But I know right now in your unbelievable arrogance, you think it'll never happen. Well, okay, let's see how it turns out. But there's no way this story ends well with Netanyahu, Smotrich, and Ben-Gvir in charge. And that's who's in charge of Israel right now.
Israel is planning to annex the West Bank. I mean, they've been allowing the construction of illegal settlements in the West Bank. They've been occupying the West Bank. They've been breaking international laws and committing all these violations. But now there's a plan in place to officially annex the West Bank, and nothing makes that clearer than the plan being laid out specifically by Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, in a recording that was reviewed by the New York Times. Now let's get into those details. Now to understand how this all works or how they plan on doing this, we need to give you some brief context. So Israel has described its occupation of the West Bank or its control of the West Bank as a temporary military occupation. So they've been claiming, no, we're not annexing parts of the West Bank at all. We're just doing a temporary military occupation, okay? And they argue that a permanent annexation would mean that the West Bank would be controlled by Israeli civilian authorities instead of the military. Well, Bezalel Smotrich plans on allowing Israeli civilian authorities to take control of the West Bank. So Smotrich is not only the Israeli finance minister, but he's also a minister in the defense ministry, and that oversees the civil administration in the West Bank. So he stated that Israel has taken the following actions in order to seize control of the territory. Given civilians greater control over settlement construction plans, as well as oversight over the lawyers who decide legal issues in the settlements, stripped the army's top commander in the West Bank of the ability to block settlement construction plans. And by the way, look, the IDF, for the most part, was providing protection for the illegal settlements. So it's not like you have the IDF, really interfering and preventing these illegal settlements from being built, or it's not like they stepped in to prevent the annexation of the West Bank. But nonetheless, the idea here is whatever safeguards were in place for the Palestinian people in the West Bank, let's do away with it. There's more. Secured nearly $270 million from Israel's defense budget to guard settlements in 2024 to 2025. Oh, look at that, they've got quite a bit of money. I don't know why American citizens are funding the weapons they're using to slaughter innocents in Gaza, but let me continue. Moved closer to establishing a new security squad that could more speedily demolish Palestinian buildings in the West Bank that have been built without Israeli permission. Finally, in particular, Smotrich pointed to one change under which military officers no longer oversee most of the process by which Israeli settlements are expanded, land is expropriated, and roads are built in the West Bank. Those roles are now overseen by a civilian working under the defense ministry who does not work for military commanders, he said, but in a new directorate that Smotrich supervises. Cenk.
Yeah, so I want to be clear. First of all, Israel has not officially said, yes, we're annexing the West Bank. But when asked, hey, did you say that Israel should annex the West Bank? And these are tangible steps they're already taking to annex it, as Anna pointed out. Smotrich acknowledged to the New York Times, yes, I did say those things and I do mean those things. And yes, they are taking those tangible steps today already. It's not theoretical. So understand why Israel has not really participated in peace negotiations to end the occupation for about the last 20 years. Some of the peace offers they made were within the bounds of acceptable. Talk about how Ehud Olmert actually offered a pretty decent deal. Not a great deal, but a deal that was barely good enough to take, in my opinion. But outside of that, most of their offers have been junk. And they say things like, well, we're giving you back some of your land. Oh, I can't believe they didn't take it. The no good terrorists won't take our offer of giving some small portion of their land back, right? Now, the reason why Israel has been disingenuous or just not even participating in peace negotiations anymore is because they want to take more land. So the longer this stretches out, the more settlements they put in, the more Palestinian land they steal in the West Bank, the more they destroy Gaza. And of course in Gaza now there are portions of the government, including so-called moderates like Benny Gantz, talking about taking a corridor within Gaza. So just grabbing more and more and more of the land, and they know they have ultimate power. America backs them 100%. Not only do we back them in terms of stopping anything that could actually put leverage to use to get to a peace deal, but on top of that, we send them endless amount of money to help them with the settlements, etc. Now we all, in America, they claim, oh, we're not in favor of the settlements, but then why are we funding Israel that is doing these settlements and that is now in the middle of annexing the West Bank, which is one of the most illegal things that'll ever happen in my lifetime on the international scale. So, and if you do that, by the way, what you're gonna do is create a giant powder keg, because I know in America, generally speaking, both politicians and media think that Muslim lives are useless, worthless, irrelevant. And they don't care how many Muslims are slaughtered in Iraq, Afghanistan, or endless drone strikes all across the world, Gaza, West Bank, they don't care about us. We get it, we get it. American officials hate Muslims across the world, and they think we're totally and utterly worthless, and our lives are worthless. We understand that, right? But on top of that, now they're saying, oh yeah, we're gonna let Israel take the West Bank, and we think those 1.6 billion Muslims should know their role. They should shut up and know when their land is stolen, and if they ever fight back in any way, including diplomacy, and go to the United Nations and ask for a state, we're gonna hit them harder, we're gonna bomb them, we're gonna steal more land, and America is awesome with it. And then they say they're surprised as why Muslims across the world might not love America. They can't figure it out. Well, if you're saying that, come on, you're a liar. It's so obvious. Anyone who says that is lying to you on purpose. They know why Muslims are agitated in America. It's because we're backing Israel 100%. And those Palestinians, it isn't just because they're Muslim. It's because we're slapping them across the face. We're humiliating them daily. And now we're saying, we're just gonna steal all of your land in the West Bank. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And then when they react, we'll attack them and say they're violent savages who only understand violence.
Well, let me give you another example outside of the annexation of the West Bank, which will be enabled by the United States government, regardless of which administration is in power. Let's be real about that. But currently, the Israeli government is considering going to an all-out war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Yep. Okay, the US, the State Department, hasn't even declared that they will not support Israel in that effort, okay? They've advised Israel that maybe it's not a good idea. So to me, that communicates the US is gonna back Israel as they invade another sovereign country and go to war with Hezbollah. But here's the other twist to the story. The Taliban in Afghanistan, complete with American weapons, because of the 20-year war we waged in Afghanistan, we left those weapons, now the Taliban has those weapons. They're planning on backing Hezbollah in that war.
Yeah, a giant Middle Eastern war helps who? It helps oil contractors, it helps defense contractors, and I guess the right wing of Israel thinks that it helps them, not Israel. Israel will be one of the worst things people affected, the Israeli citizens, right? But the Israeli right wing thinks, yeah, that leads us to more power. Who cares about the Israeli citizens? And obviously they don't care about Palestinians. And obviously they think America's a laughing stock. They lead us around by the nose. Hey, here you go, here you go. Here's some AIPAC money. And if you don't believe that, you're being ridiculous. There's a bunch of idiots on television going, no, I think that Jamal Bowman's being offensive for complaining about the $14.5 million that AIPAC is spending on his election.
Right.
I think that's anti-Semitic to complain. He should just lose, and he should know his role. His role is he's an American. His opinion is worthless. You support Israel, otherwise we spend unlimited money to defeat you, and then go, what corruption? What do you mean Israel's controlling the politicians through AIPAC? Oh my God, that is so weird and offensive for you to say. Now we all have eyes, we all have ears. So there is no end to this. I guarantee you right now that if we do not stop this, and if Trump wins or Biden wins or RFK Jr. wins, none of them are gonna stop it. They're all 100% on the side of the Israeli right wing. Well, it's gonna blow up on America. We're gonna have to go to war there. We're gonna have to, American kids are gonna die there. We're gonna spend trillions of dollars, because once Israel starts the war by annexing the West Bank, attacking Lebanon, or all the other wars that Netanyahu would like to start, they're gonna say, oh, that's it, it's over. The war started, you have to support our special ally. Special ally that gets us in nonstop wars, makes the entire world despise us. What the hell kind of ally is this? With allies like this, you don't need enemies.
That's exactly right. Finally, I leave you with a statement from Bezalel Smotrich. He was quoted as saying, "We created a separate civilian system," referring to the annexation of the West Bank. "It will be easier to swallow in the international and legal context, so that they won't say that we are doing annexation here."
And then he acknowledges it. Yeah, we're gonna lie to you. And we're gonna tell you it's not an annexation when it's an annexation. Then the New York Times asked him, did you say that? He's like, yeah, I did. What are you gonna do about it, huh? So what, a bunch of suckers in America.
Yeah, we own you.
We'll get them to do anything we want, okay? Who cares? Somebody disagrees with us, 10%, that's it, 14.5 million. Oh, I didn't do it, AIPAC did it. It says American Israel Political Action Committee, but golly gee, don't say it has anything to do with Israel. That would be anti-Semitic. We're gonna spend $100 million buying the entire United States Congress, but don't say it. Don't ever report the truth, because the truth is anti-Semitic. So I'm tired of these games. This world is going to explode if they annex the West Bank fully. It's going to totally explode, and half the known world is going to despise America and Israel. If you think this is helping you, how in the world is this going to turn Israel into a safe haven? It's going to create an endless war that you guys are going to fight. And I know in your incredible arrogance, you think we have Iron Dome, America will fund us no matter what. They've already given us $300 billion. They'll give us anything we want. We'll make them do it. At some point, Americans are going to go, well, we've had enough of this crap. No, you're not our ally, and all you've ever done is be unbelievably unfair to these people. And we're sick of it, and you did it with our money, and you're starting all these wars with our money, and we're not gonna take it anymore. But I know right now in your unbelievable arrogance, you think it'll never happen. Well, okay, let's see how it turns out. But there's no way this story ends well with Netanyahu, Smotrich, and Ben-Gvir in charge. And that's who's in charge of Israel right now.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.